Hi students, in the previous module of module 6, we have checked that how to determine rate constant of different first order reactions. Now, we are going to check methods to determine the order of reaction. So, we have seen factors influencing rate of reaction, different ways to calculate the rate constant of first order reactions in the previous modules itself. Now, let us check methods to determine the order of reaction. Methods to determine the order of reaction. Now, let us see one by one method how to determine order of reaction. Half-life method. We already know that for a nth order reaction, T half is inversely proportional to A power n minus 1. So, for an nth order reaction, what is that? We have already taken and derived it actually. T half is inversely proportional to 1 by A power n minus 1. This can be written at different concentrations. Suppose at A1 concentration, its half-life time is T half 1. At A2 concentration, its half-life time is T half 2. If it was given, now you can check that. You can take it as T half 1 by T half 2 is equal to, as it is inversely proportional, A2 by A1 to the power of n minus 1, because they are inversely proportional. T half 1 by T half 2 equal to A2 by A1 to the power of n minus 1. Here, as we know already according to our condition, T half for zero order reaction. For zero order reaction, what we can take here for zero order reaction? T half is directly proportional to E. So, which implies that when initial concentration is 10 moles per liter, if its half-life period is 5 seconds. If initial concentration, that is, it was given A1 is equal to 5 capital M, that is molar concentration. T half 1 is given to be 20 minutes. And if A2, the concentration they have said that it is doubled. If they have mentioned, we will see in what kind the question could be asked. Initial concentration when it is 5 M, they said that its T half 1 is 20 minutes. When its initial concentration is doubled in the sense 5 M becomes 10 M, then its T half 2 becomes 40 minutes. Then what is order of reaction? When T half is double, when initial concentration is double, T half is also double. Then what is order of reaction is the question asked. Basing on that condition, can we write T half 1 20, T half 2 40 is equal to, what is A2 10 by A1 5 to the power of n minus 1. Now this is 1 by 2. This is 2 power n minus 1. So which implies this can be written as 2 power minus 1. 2 power minus 1 is equal to 2 power n minus 1, which implies minus 1 is equal to n minus 1. N is equal to 0. Therefore, it is a zero order reaction. Now, it's an example problem we have taken for a half-life method. What you can observe here, for zero order reaction, half-life is directly proportional to initial concentration. That's what we will get, because for a zero order reaction, n is equal to 0. N is equal to 0 in the sense what we need to get? T half is proportional to 1 by a power 0 minus 1. which implies T half a power minus 1, if it comes to the numerator, it becomes a. For a zero order reaction, T half is directly proportional to a. As we have seen in a problem, what way the problem will be asked when your initial concentration is doubled, its T half is double. Then what is its order of the reaction is the question asked. Or else sometimes the information would be given. Initial concentration when it is 5 m, its T half is 20 minutes. When initial concentration is 10 m, its T half is 40 minutes. Then what is the order of reaction? See, logically, directly it is proportional. When concentration is increased, T half is also increased. Directly you can say that. Or else you can solve the problem. T half 1 by T half 2 equal to A2 by A1 to the power of n minus 1. If you have taken that, you will get order of reaction. Now, if question has been said that if initial concentration is doubled, see, when concentration is 5 m, its T half is observed to be 20 minutes. When initial concentration is doubled, that is it has become 10 m, then also T half is observed to be 20 minutes, means it is of which order reaction? By now you should have understood. T half is independent of initial concentration, means it is a first order reaction. Suppose if they ask that T 40% is given to be 20 minutes for some reaction. When initial concentration is doubled for a first order reaction, what would be the amount of the reaction that should have occurred? Now understand the question carefully. For a first order reaction, what I said? For a first order reaction. For a first order reaction, T half is independent of initial concentration. Independent of initial concentration. That's what we have checked before itself. Right? Now the question has been said that for some reaction, A gives rise to products, that is a first order reaction. T 40% is 30 minutes. If the initial concentration is doubled, then how much time will take for the 40% of the reaction to be completed or 60% of the reaction to be left? Both means it. 40% completed means it is T 40%. 60% left is also T 40%. Then what should be the answer? Listen to the question carefully. What is the information given here? That for a first order reaction, T 40% is 30 minutes. And it has been observed that if initial concentration is doubled, in how much time? 60% of the reaction would be left. 60% of the reaction would be left means they are asking T 40% only. But when initial concentration is doubled, they said. Whether initial concentration is doubled or not, time period of first order reaction is independent of initial concentration. So now also the time taken is 30 minutes. I hope so you should have understood that clearly. That is T half, not only T half. Any time period or T half is independent of initial concentration. For a zero order reaction, time period is directly, any time period is directly proportional to initial concentration. For a first order reaction, time period is independent of initial concentration. Now, suppose if we have taken that T half is proportional to for a second order reaction. If you take for a second order reaction, what is n equal to? N equal to 2. T half is proportional to 1 by a power 2 minus 1. That is T half is inversely proportional to a. T half is inversely proportional to a for a second order reaction. So for a second order reaction, what we can say here that T half is inversely proportional to a. If concentration of A is double, T half will get halved. Then it is a second order reaction. If concentration is double, T half will get halved. That will indicate the second order reaction. Now, for a third order reaction, so for a third order reaction, what is n now? N is equal to 3, which implies T half is proportional to a power 3 minus 1, a square. So T half is inversely proportional to a square, indicates that it is a third order reaction. Suppose they have said that T half is inversely proportional to a cube. Then what is the order of reaction? So then what would be the order of reaction? Fourth order. Then this number 1 excess if you do, you will get order of reaction because it is n minus 1. So here a square, 1 by a square you will get for third order. 1 by a cube we will get for fourth order. 1 by a power 4 we will get for fifth order. So for any of the reaction you can find it. Sometimes order of reaction could be even fractional order. That is the reason for this, how to solve this, taking log on both sides. So log of T half 1 by T half 2 must be equal to n minus 1 log of A2 by A1. So log of T half 1 by T half 2 must be equal to n minus 1 log of A2 by A1. So by taking this, which implies n minus 1 is equal to log of T half 1 by T half 2 divided by log of A2 by A1 to find out the order of reaction, which implies n is equal to log of T half 1 by T half 2 divided by log of A2 by A1 plus 1. If you do, you will get the order of reaction. Simple logarithms, simple calculations will be given in the exam to solve this easily. But remember that in this half-life method, when the initial concentrations were changing, how time period, any time period, it need not be T half itself. It can be T 75%, T 50%, T 40%, anything. So T half is inversely proportional to A 1 by A power n minus 1. T half 1 by T half 2 must be equal to A2 by A1 to the power of n minus 1. By taking logarithms, order of reaction would be equal to log of T half 1 by T half 2 by log of A2 by A1 plus 1. If you do, you will get the order of reaction, which can be fractional, zero, negative, or any natural number. This is the half-life method to calculate the order of reaction. Now next, initial rate method or Van 't Hoff differential method. Both depends on the terms of concentration. So let us consider that now. Initial rate method or Van 't Hoff differential method. Van 't Hoff differential method. And more number of problems will be asked to the competitive exam basing on this method. So be careful in understanding this. For example, if there was a reaction given as A plus B plus C gives rise to products is the reaction given, which is in a single elementary step. Which is given in a single elementary step. Then what is rate law to be written? Rate law is equal to K into concentration of A power X, concentration of B power Y, concentration of C power Z. So now remember here that taking B and C in excess, let us suppose taking B and C in excess. When we take in excess, as we have said before, its change in concentration will not influence the rate of reaction if we have taken it in excess. So only varying the concentration of A, we are trying for determining order of reaction with respect to A first. So R1 by R2 must be equal to concentration of A1 by concentration of A2 to the power of X. So when we take B and C in excess and its change in concentration, when it does not influence the rate of reaction, when we have checked only about the change in concentration of A by varying the concentration of A. R1 by R2 must be equal to concentration of A initially and after some time to the power of X. So from this, order with respect to A is, order with respect to A is, what we have taken? X. Order with respect to B we took Y. Order with respect to C we took Z. Right. Now taking A and C concentrations in excess, varying only concentration of B. Then what we will get when we vary only the concentration of B? R1 by R2 only with varying the concentration of B we will get concentration of B1 by B2 to the power of Y. Order with respect to B is Y. Now, keeping this is done, keeping concentration of A and C to be constant. Concentration of A and C to be constant. Here, concentration of B and C kept constant. Then what kept constant? Concentration of B and C kept constant by taking in excess. By taking in excess. Here concentration of A and C to be kept constant. We are not varying the concentration of A and C. So R1 by R2 equal to concentration of B1 by B2 to the power of Y. Order with respect to B here is Y. Here order with respect to A is X. Now suppose keeping concentration of A and B to be constant. Concentration of A and B to be constant. What is that rate of reaction we will get? R1 by R2 must be equal to concentration of C1 by concentration of C2 to the power of Z. And order with respect to C is Z. So order with respect to C is Z. Now listen carefully. First we took B and C concentrations to be in excess or we kept it as constant, and we have found rate of reaction only in terms of change in the concentration of A, and you have found the X value. Order with respect to A is X. Now here we took concentration of A and C to be constant, and we took the rate of reaction in terms of only the change in concentration of B. So basing on that, we got order with respect to B is Y. Now keeping A and B concentrations to be constant, we took change in the rate of reaction basing on varying concentration of C, and we have found Z. What is overall order of the reaction basing on this? Now order of reaction is sum of powers of concentration terms in rate law. We know that. It is sum of powers of concentration terms in rate law. So it must be equal to X plus Y plus Z. So overall order of reaction is X plus Y plus Z. So what is overall order of reaction? We have to individually found that. After finding that, we can write overall order of reaction. Overall order of reaction is X plus Y plus Z. Most of the problems in the competitive exams will be asked based on this. So please remember that sometimes they make it B and C constant and they can give A. After giving that, keeping only C constant, they can give change in the concentration of A and B. Change in the concentration of A and B. Already you have found X. By using only B and C constant varying concentration of A, you have found X value. Second condition what they have given, only C is constant. Now both A and B, when it is varying, how you will do the problem? R1 by R2 equal to A1 concentration, initial concentration of A to the power of X into keeping only C constant. This is keeping only C constant. So first we have found concentration of C to be constant into B1 by B2 to the power of Y. already as we know x in the given problems, it would be given like that. If we know the x, we can substitute x, and from this R1 they will give, R2 they will give A1, A2, B1, B2, and x already we know from the calculation. So you can find out y. Suppose already you have found x and y. All three are variables. In case all three are varying, all three concentrations are varying, then you can write R1 by R2 equal to A1 by A2 to the power of x. From the first step you should have found x. Then using the second step you should have found in the tabular column the informations will be given in that way to the power of y, and only to find out z. You can use all the three. Sometimes it may be given like that. So in the first step of numericals giving in the tabular column, only A is varying, B and C is constant. So from that you can calculate x. From step 2, step 3 when you are coming, A is varying, B is varying. So you know already x, you can find out by putting this y. From third to fourth step when you are coming, all three are varying and rate is rate is varying based on change in concentration of A, B and C. That is in the fourth step. When you are coming from third to fourth, when all the three are varying, you can check using in the tabular column. When only one is varying, two both are varying, all three are varying. When you know x, you can find out y. When you know x and y, you can find out z. So remember that. So using on the tabular column given, you should be very careful in finding the overall order of your reaction. This is very important method, Van 't Hoff differential method, which implies that rate is directly proportional to concentration of reactant at that instant. Rate is directly proportional to concentration of reactant at that instant, or rate is equal to K into concentration of that reactant at that instant. If you have taken also, taking log on both sides, log base E R is equal to log base E K plus N log base E C. Now basing on this, if you write 2.303 for everything, 2.303 log base 10, 2.303 log base 10, 2.303 log base 10, that gets cancelled anyway. You can write it as even log base 10 R is equal to log base 10 K plus N log base 10 C also. So here log base 10 R is equal to log base 10 K plus N log base 10 C. It is in the form of y equal to mx plus c. You can observe that it is a straight line equation. So if you take in a graph log base 10 rate of reaction in y-axis, log base 10 concentration in x-axis, you can observe it comes with a positive slope with y-intercept is equal to log base 10k, and its slope must be equal to order of reaction if such graph is given to you. So listen carefully in Van 't Hoff differential method what they are trying to say. We have determined still now the reactions x, y, z overall order of reaction basing on this concept only. Rate of reaction is directly proportional to concentration of reactant at that instant to the power of n. R is equal to K into concentration of C power n. So if you take log on both sides, you will get log base 10 R is equal to log base 10 K plus N log base 10 C. If they are given in y-axis rate of reaction, in x-axis that is log base 10 rate of reaction, log base 10 concentration. Then what is y-intercept? Log base 10 K. It is the rate constant of a order of reaction, whichever may be the order of the reaction. Slope will give us the order of reaction. This is Van 't Hoff's differential method to calculate the order of reaction. So it's like differential rate method and Van 't Hoff differential method both makes the rate of reaction depends on concentration of the reactant. Basing on that, you can find out the order of reaction. Now next, let us see the graphical method to know the order of reaction. Graphical method to know the order of reaction. So basing on what is taken in y-axis, what is taken in x-axis, what is slope, what is the graph we will get, we can say what is order of reaction. For example, let us take order of reaction. Its rate equation. And what is taken in y-axis, what is taken in x-axis, what is its m is equal to, what is its in y equal to mx plus c, what is its y-intercept is equal to, what is its graph. Now let us see if it is a zero order reaction. If it is a zero order reaction. Do you remember what is the rate equation we have derived? X equal to K naught T. What is X here? Reacted amount. That is initial concentration minus remaining concentration. You can say, suppose its initial concentration is R naught, remaining amount is R, X is R naught minus R. That is reacted amount. What is R naught here? Initial concentration. R naught is initial concentration. What is R here? Remaining concentration. So, initial concentration minus remaining concentration is the amount reacted. So, what is to be taken in y-axis? Y-axis we should take X or R naught. Y equal to mx plus c. X or R naught minus R. What is to be taken in x-axis? We have taken the graph before. Here in y-axis we have to use X is the reacted amount. What is to be taken in x-axis? T. What is its slope? K naught. What is y-intercept? 0. How we will get the graph? We have seen already. How we should get the graph? So, here graphically you can observe that in y-axis we need to take the reacted amount, that is R naught minus R, or reacted amount representation as X, with what is taken in x-axis? T. What is the slope here? K naught. What is y-intercept? When there is no y-intercept, the straight line passes through origin. So what is slope here is equal to K naught. Remember that if reacted amount is taken in y-axis, T is taken in x-axis, slope is equal to rate constant of a zero order reaction, and the equation of straight line passes through origin because there is no y-intercept. It does not have any y-intercept. This is for A. If you have seen such graph, you can identify it is a zero order reaction. So what is the rate equation of a zero order reaction? Reacted amount is equal to constant into time. Reacted amount can be mentioned either as X or R naught minus R, whatever may be the mentioning thing. Y-axis you have to take reacted amount, x-axis you have to take time, and slope must be equal to rate constant. And what is y-intercept here? 0. So, which implies straight line passes through origin for zero order reaction. If such information is given in the graph, if such graph is given, you can identify it as a zero order reaction. Now next, if it is a first order reaction, already we have seen such graphs. If it is a first order reaction, what is the graph rate equation we need to get? So we have seen ln of A minus X must be equal to minus K1T plus ln of, here you can write it as ln of A minus X equal to minus K1T plus ln A. This is taken in y-axis, this is taken in x-axis. Here slope is minus K1. Here ln A is y-intercept. What is taken in y-axis? ln of a minus x. That is log base e. Ln is nothing but log base e. In x-axis t. What is slope? Minus k1. What is y-intercept? Ln a. So what is the graph to be drawn? If you have taken ln of a minus x in the y-axis, t in the x-axis, you will get a negative slope. That is slope is equal to minus k1. What is y-intercept we are getting here? Ln of e. Or this can be written as, instead of log base e, you can write this as log base 10. Do you remember that a minus x must be equal to minus k1 by 2.303t plus log base 10a. This is what we have got in deriving first order rate equation. So what is taken in y-axis in such case? Log base 10a minus x, t in x-axis. Then what would be the slope here? Minus y equal to mx plus c. This is written as y equal to mx plus c. What is m here? Minus k1 by 2.303 they will get. Log base 10a will be y-intercept. In that graph, for a first order reaction, what is to be taken in y-axis? Log base 10 a minus, so log base 10 a minus x should be given in y-axis. So here they give t in x-axis. Now it is also with negative slope. What is slope? M is equal to now minus k1 by 2.303. In this case, what is y-intercept? Log base 10 a. So remember, basing on the graph given, you can identify the order of reaction. So if it is log base e a minus x in y-axis, y-intercept is log base e a and slope is minus k1. In x-axis as usual it is t itself. Now suppose if it was given as log base 10 a minus x, so y-intercept is log base 10 a, slope would be minus k1 by 2.303. So that is for first order reaction. Now for a second order reaction. Now, do you remember what is second order reaction that we will get? We have got already nth order reaction. First we will check that. 1 by n minus 1, 1 by a minus x must be equal to knt plus 1 by n minus 1, 1 by a power, a minus x power of n minus 1, a power of n minus 1. This is what we have got as a nth order rate equation. Do you remember that? 1 by n minus 1 is into 1 by a minus x to the power of n minus 1. 1 by a minus x to the power of n minus 1 is equal to knt plus 1 by n minus 1 into 1 by a power n minus 1. Now suppose this could be written as 1 by a minus x to the power of n minus 1 equal to n minus 1 knt plus, we can write this as 1 by a power n minus 1. This is taken as y equal to mx plus c. So in such kind of nth order graphs, we can see now what would be the graph taken here. 1 by a minus x to the power of n minus 1, or it could be written as a minus x to the power of 1 minus n. This in y-axis. What should be taken in y-axis? Listen carefully. It should be taken in y-axis to be a minus x to the power of 1 minus n. Or what is taken in x-axis? T from this. X-axis we have to take only the variable. Here in y-axis 1 by a minus x to the power of n minus 1. And what we will get the graph? It is with positive slope. What is y-intercept here? 1 by a power n minus 1 or a power 1 minus n. What should be the slope? Equal to n minus 1 into kn. This is for nth order reaction. So 1 by 1 in the place of n, if you keep 2, what we will get here? Order of reaction if it is a second order reaction. What is the rate equation? 1 by a minus x is equal to, what is 2 minus 1? 1. K2t plus 1 by a for a second order reaction. Basing on this only we are going to write. In y-axis what we will take? 1 by a minus x. So what is right equation we got? 1 by a minus x equal to k2t plus 1 by a. What is in y-axis? 1 by a minus x or a minus x to the power of minus 1. As usual, what is taken in x-axis? T. What is slope in this case? K2. What is y-intercept? 1 by a or a power minus 1. So what is the graph to be drawn? The same graph. What we are going to draw in this case is, you can observe here we have to take a minus x to the power of minus 1. It is with positive slope with y-intercept a power minus 1. T in x-axis. Slope is equal to K2. If we have got such kind of graph, it is a second order reaction. For a second order reaction, what is taken in y-axis? 1 by a minus x or a minus x to the power of minus 1. What is should be taken in x-axis? T. What is slope? K2. What should be its y-intercept? 1 by a or a power minus 1. If it is a third order reaction, what we will take for a third order reaction rate equation? This should be the rate equation, right? 1 by a minus x to the power of 3 minus 1. The whole square is equal to 3 minus 1, 2. K3t plus 1 by a square. Or else this can be written as a minus x to the power of minus 2 is equal to 2k3t plus a power minus 2. Now, for a third order reaction, what should be taken in y-axis? Y equal to mx plus c. If we have taken y-axis, we have to take a minus x to the power of minus 2. What is taken in x-axis? T, a variable. What is slope? 2k3. Now, what is y-intercept? A power minus 2. How to draw the graph related to that with respect to the nth order reaction? A minus x to the power of minus 2 with a positive slope, taking a power minus 2 t in x-axis. Slope must be equal to 2k3. So if such kind of graph is given, that is slope is 2 times of rate constant. When we plot a minus x to the power of minus 2, t in x-axis, slope is 2 times of rate constant. If they have mentioned, it is a third order reaction. So now, for a nth order reaction, let us see directly for an nth order reaction, we have seen already the graph and the equation and what should be taken in y-axis and x-axis. So this is graphical way. From the graph, you can identify it is of which order. Now, remember carefully, what are the main methods to determine the order of reaction we have discussed now. So, initial rate method or Van 't Hoff differential method, both. Rate of reaction, how it depends on concentration of the reactant. When concentration gets changed, rate of reaction gets varied. How many times it gets varied? It also indicates the order of reaction. So you have to write the rate law and you have to find overall order of reaction as we have discussed. Next is half-life method. Half-life method is T half is inversely proportional to A power n minus 1. T half 1 by T half 2 equal to A2 by A1 to the power of n minus 1. From that also you can find out the order of reaction in a simple way, or if it is a fractional order you have to take log on both sides. Now next is graphical method. By seeing the graph you can identify it is of which order reaction. All the graphical ways of zero order reactions, which all were the graphs of it, you have to understand. In the next module we will discuss second order, third order and all the graphs related to all order reactions. So thoroughly understand the subject. If you check one by one, this is very important for the problems in competitive exams. Remember that these three methods are very important for your competitive examination kind of problems.